Okay, so let's get started. I'd like you to open up your browser, okay, and let's go to Blackboard and I've created a page now that we'll be going to quite a bit. I'll be posting all of your data, um, any deliverables, things that I just like other students to see if you've done a rendering or something. So it's all going to be here at Final Project. All right. So what I'd like you to do first is download this extra folders template. If you just click on it, it should just download by itself. Okay. And then head down to your downloads folder, extract all, enter, and then you could just delete this zipped version and then open this up. Okay, and these are going to be all of the extra folders that we're going to use in this project, and we are going to put those inside of our ArcGIS project. Now, you may have already started yours. If that's the case, just copy and paste those in your project. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to get started from ground zero, from scratch, and start my project fresh, okay? So if you don't see an ArcGIS icon on your computer, you're probably using a school computer, just hit the Windows button in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard. And this is really handy. I mean, you can find anything this way. So if I just typed in ARC, that's just pops right up. Okay, so I'm going to start a brand new project from a map template. Okay, and as I've discussed quite a bit, it's very important where you put your project, okay? And what I would recommend, I really recommend this highly because you guys are working very hard as students. You're doing a lot of work. You're creating drawings, your posters, CAD work, and you really, I promise you, you're gonna wanna save that, all right? Tech gives every student and faculty member a OneDrive account. Okay, it's actually a Microsoft 365 account. And inside of that account, there's a OneDrive folder. Okay, and it's like Google Drive or Dropbox, anything like that. But it has a full terabyte of storage, which is more than enough for you to save everything you've done as a student for 4 years. Okay, so if you're having trouble finding that, just go to the PC, go to the Windows, and you can go to users. Okay, and you should see your username there because you've logged into the computer. Okay, then you should see your OneDrive Texas Tech. Now, if you don't, just go to the web. Okay, and if you log into your E-Rater account and click on email, it's going to take you to this page. Okay, and then what you can do is come up here to the app launcher and choose OneDrive. Okay, and then come up here to the settings icon and just choose sync this OneDrive, and then it's going to start syncing down to the C drive on the computer you're using. Now, most of you seem to be sitting in the same place every time. I don't know how Paul has the computers configured there, if he wipes everything out at the end of the day, but you don't have to sync all of your folders, okay? Just this project folder. And so if you want to save your project on OneDrive, I really think we either do OneDrive or you bring in a quality hard drive and save it on that. we've already been experiencing trouble with GIS projects on the student server. It looks to be pretty full already. So you can sync this OneDrive, all right, and then what you can do is go to your OneDrive. At this point, it will have started to sync, okay? And what I would recommend is you create a folder for every semester you're as a student here, and then subfolders inside of there for each class you're taking, okay? So I am going to put this project in this LARC 2331 folder, okay? So actually I'm just gonna come up here and Control C to copy that address. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is tell Pro that's where I want the project. So I'm gonna click on this, come here, Control V, all right? And you need click on this fella. Let's go back. Sometimes GIS is a little funky. Let me just go. Jeez. Okay. So what you want to see is the root name of your class folder down here. So when I click on this, my favorite class of all time, that's where GIS is going to put the project folder, okay? You don't need to make a folder inside of there, all right? You just need to tell it where to put the project folder. Okay, click OK. And then let's name this with your class. I know you guys have a naming convention. I don't really know what it is. And let's name it what your project, the actual location of your project. And this is a good rule of thumb, because if you call it final project, I mean, you're probably going to remember what this one was because it's going to be a fairly large project, but your file name should be somewhat descriptive, and that way, you know, a year or two down the road, you don't have to open up all these, you know, software and figure out what was going on in this project. Okay. And then just put, let's just end it with F24. Okay, so that's fall of 24. And make sure that's checked. It's going to create that folder. Okay, click OK. And so now we're starting with a fresh project. So why don't you right click on the world topo map and choose zoom to layer. Okay, and this is, we talked a lot about projections, and this is the most basic projection that Google Maps will use, Apple Maps, okay? The problem with this projection, while it's relatively user-friendly for the majority of the world's population, it's not very accurate, and it's certainly not suitable for construction documentation, and especially when you're going to be laying out your project with northern and eastern points. Okay, so let's take care of that now, because my project is in the Panama Canal. I want to see how they built that sucker. So it's going to be right in here. So they had a lot of help from Mother Nature, but apparently this was one heck of a dig. And I don't know, real quick, the history. France tried it first, and the mosquito is what drove them out. Too many of the guys were getting malaria. So then the Americans came in and with a lot of mosquito netting, and that's how we ended up doing it. Okay, so let's get this thing projected. So double click on your map. All right, while we're here, let's name our map. Okay, we can leave all of that alone, and let's go to coordinate systems. Okay, I have a lot of favorites. I'll zip them up. Now, I think the best option for you here, if you're outside of the United States, is to simply type in the name of the country where your project is located. Okay? And of course that didn't work for me. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to click on this little funnel to filter, and I am going to choose, let's see, filter coordinate systems, spatial extent. So current visible extent. Okay, so that's what's literally on my screen now. It hopefully should find the projection. Let's see. Let's just choose conformal. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me just go down to projected. Okay. Oh, and now they have. Okay, so this is a weird. Their search system is very strange. Okay, but it looks like if you just twirl this open, it's going to narrow you down to hopefully Panama. There we go. All right. I wouldn't pick a 1911 if you're overseas. Okay, these UTM zones are great. Okay, so Panama's pretty small. I'm just going to go with the 18 and click OK. All right. So let me do that again for you guys, because setting up your projection is going to be incredibly important. All right. And now you can see just how wildly different my map looks. And that's because, again, I can't emphasize this enough, because you will be encountering projections throughout your career. The whole reason we project maps is because you're never going to be doing a project around the whole world. Okay, it's even if it's this size, that's massive. Okay, so you want to increase the accuracy in this one small area at the expense of everywhere else. But everywhere else doesn't matter, because we're rolling in Panama. Okay, so let me go through that one more time. I'm going to hit a Control S, double click on your map, and that's going to open up your map properties. Come down to coordinate systems. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, let's just type in, let's say you're doing something in the US. Type in Wyoming. Okay, now open up your projected, and this, if you're in the US, this is what you want. You want your state plane. Okay, and you want to use NAT 83 meters, because the elevation data that you're going to get from the USGS is projected this way. Okay, and then you can open that up, and then whatever part of Wyoming you're in, you can just pick one of these fellas. Okay, so you're good there. Now let's do one more. Okay, let's say you're in Bangladesh. Okay, so go to projected, twirl it open, national grids, and there you go. So then you can pick the one. See, let's see if they have a UTM. Yeah. So I would pick one of these guys here. Okay, the UTMs are, they wrap all the way around the world. So whichever country you're in, you will find a UTM coordinate system. Okay, so I hope that works, and I hope that makes sense. And I hope I didn't just change my projection to Bangladesh. Okay, I didn't. All right, let's do a Control S. And now let's download our elevation data. Okay, so I'm going to go to the web. Now, a lot of you are going to have your data on Blackboard. Okay. Okay, so let me go back here. Okay. And I'm going to upload the rest of the files that I was requested to help you out with this afternoon. Okay. And so you can download these, and also remember to download that extra folders template. Okay. I still have to download mine. All right. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to download these two tiles. Okay, so let me get the second one. Okay, now I'm going to go to my downloads folder. And the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these extra ones that I accidentally downloaded. Okay, one of those I actually needed. Okay, hold on one sec. Okay, good. So there's the North 08, West 080, and 09. Okay, so I have two extra 09s. Let's get rid of those. And I can extract these fellas here. Okay, and let's delete that. Extract these guys. And delete that. Okay, now let's pull, I'm going to put this on Blackboard, but let's pull all of our folders out of here. So you can make a selection window just like you do in CAD. Hold down your left mouse button and just drag out, and then do a Control X. We don't want these folders being inside of a folder, okay? And now what we can do is go over to our class folder, and you can easily make shortcuts. For example, you could just drag this over here, and when you see that I-beam, that pins it to your quick access. So that's it. It's super handy if when you're working on a project for an hour or two. Okay, so now let's open up our project and just Control V to put all of these other folders in here. And of course they're empty, but you're going to be doing research, you're going to be collecting images, okay? Aerial imagery, we're certainly going to be trying to get as much hydrography, which is streams and rivers, as possible. But we're going to start, of course, with elevation or terrain, okay? So I'm going to go back to downloads, and I'm going to open both of these up because I don't need that folder, and I'm just going to do a Control X and a Control V. Actually, I could have shown you a neat trick. Okay, and a Control X and a Control V. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of all this jibber jab. All right, and then I am going to select these two. Control X, back to the project. Okay, open up elevation, Control V. All right, now we're cooking with grease. All right, I'm gonna close out of here. I'm gonna come back to my project. I'm gonna give this girl a twirl, and there's all of our folders. Okay, so in elevation, boom, here we go. So let's select the elevation files you need, and you can just drag and just drop them right on your map. Okay, now there's a lot of data in here, and the software likes to build what's called pyramids, and it's a way to store the visual data so that you can see it quickly. So if it doesn't look like anything's happening after you drag and drop, just give it a little time. Okay, now this would be a great time to save. Okay, and that'll be it for this video, and I will start the next one where we mosaic our tiles together, and then we start cutting out our AOI. So I'll see you in the next video.